What's up, everyone? This is TinMan with the Worldwide Resistance Network. If you're watching this, you are the resistance. And welcome to TinMan TV. Yes, everyone, this is TinMan TV. I, of course, am your host, the Tin Man, Chris Sheldon with Worldwide Resistance Network, where we are the resistance. This is the infamous Monster Blue, the fictitious product that doesn't actually exist because we are of the people, by the people, for the people. Why? Because we say it every goddamn week. If you are watching this broadcast, you are the resistance. So if you like these podcasts, share the live feeds, follow us on our various social medias, X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, all at REALTWWRN. And also be sure to check out our online store at REALTWWRN.printify.me. Tons of great merch. I'll be launching some new merch coming up later in the week, closer to the weekend. So be sure to check that out. Again, that is REALTWWRN.printify.me. And as always, last but not least, be sure to engage in the conversation. If you resonate with what we're talking about and you have any thoughts or opinions, share them in the comments. Comments are enabled, and the Worldwide Resistance Network prides itself on being one of the only podcast networks, if not the only podcast network, that includes you in the conversation. Whereas most hosts will throw out a hotline number and say, call in with your thoughts, and they'll take a handful of calls. No, we say, fuck that shit. Jump in the comments, become a part of the show, whether it's TinMan TV, The Round Table, any of Revan's giving shows, Grey Jedi TV, or any of that. You are a part of the conversation. So come in. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a beer. And discuss politics. And on that note, I think it's pretty well obvious what this topic is going to be. It's come out recently that there is video documentation that there is video documentation. They got them on tape. 7 family members from the family of Tyler Robenson saying that Tyler was set up. And I really just want to open with this because given the amount of corruption that is going on, evidently, with this investigation and going on within varying aspects of the administration, I just want to say, go on record in saying that this is how it should have been. And instead of the way it's been handled and has been being handled, this is what I think most people would have liked to see.
That's why 98% of Wiggers are white. What's up, big guy?
Faggot on the roof. We have a faggot on the roof.
You mean a sniper?
Where do snipers sit? On roofs. Faggot on the roof. Kill the fucking faggot.
My nigga, we got a problem.
Don't worry about it, Pookie. 2 Wigger missiles are en route.
And that's why 98%.
Yeah. That's should have been how it should have been handled. The truth should have come out, and the people truly responsible should have been held accountable by this administration. But what happened? This little kid got the fucking blame. The administration coddles Toilet Paper USA and its new CEO, Erica Kirk. And Erica Kirk takes the AIPAC money and takes the organization of Turning Point USA and does a complete 180. They should be called Turning Propagandists USA. And the Trump administration coddles them as part of this pro-Israel narrative because apparently we've got a tongue punch Bibi Netanyahu's fart box. Like, seriously, bro? It's ridiculous. It is completely fucking ridiculous. So to hear this news, that all this information has come out, is mind-boggling. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play some clips here. We're going to go ahead and jump to some clips from the Alex Jones show yesterday, where he actually conducted an interview with one of the people in the courtroom who has been bringing all of this out. So I'm going to start that here, and we'll take it from there. And video prosecution team agent Tyler Robenson reveals that security cameras captured him going to the sniper's perch, taking the shot at Charlie Kirk and running away. Investigative reporter Elizabeth Lane was in the courtroom when this was announced and still has a few questions. Let's go ahead and just backtrack that. I'm going to just play the whole damn thing.
UVU surveillance then captures him return later. He returns on foot right before the Charlie Kirk event. He's wearing a disguise of sorts. He's wearing a baseball cap, different baseball cap, pulled low. He's got sunglasses on, a different shirt, different pants, but the same Converse shoes. That's all seen in the surveillance. He's limping because there's a rifle down his pants. The surveillance captures this individual. Again, I don't want to overstate the evidence because the pictures of his face at this time are not as definitive as they were earlier because of the sunglasses and the hat. But it captures his face, captures his appearance, his height, his build, all consistent with how he looks earlier in the day and how he looks today in court. But he makes his way to the rooftop, makes his way to the sniper's perch on the rooftop, takes the shot, and then runs to the northeast, drops off the building and runs to the northeast of campus into a wooded area. That's all captured on video.
The reason you saw this particular prosecutor go and tell you how there's going to be a cap and glasses and shoes again, he needs this because he doesn't have a face. So it could be anybody. It could be Lance Twiggs, for example, who had the access to Tyler's cap, shoes, pants, similar build, all of that. So the reason he needs to state all this stuff for the people to hear is because he doesn't have a clear face on that camera. So it could be anybody. I'm sorry, but I don't buy this bullshit unless they can present Tyler Robinson's face, like clear face or blurry, but face. That he's going up there on that roof to shoot Charlie, then I'm sorry, but anything they can present could be anybody. It's very odd that prosecution came out and started talking about what kind of evidence they were going to show against Tyler Robinson. But here's what was odd about it. So they said we have camera that Tyler Robinson showed up day before with his car on the location. We have evidence that Tyler Robinson got up on that roof and fired the shots. We have evidence of him escaping, all of this stuff. But then they go and spend like good 2 minutes talking about, we will see Tyler Robinson's shirt. We will see Tyler Robinson's pants, his shoes, his cap, his glasses. You know, I don't understand why they needed this. You can't just say you will see very clear.
By the way, I've talked to FBI agents, former ones, current. When they have stuff like that, they put it out front. They want to taint the jury. This thing about they hold it back, they never do that. So the fact they tell the judge, oh, we have all this without showing it, very suspicious.
Well, the suspicious part to me is the clothes. Like they didn't say we have his face. Like they didn't say, you know what, we have his face, he's on it, like it's a done deal, like he's guilty, right? they went on talking about his clothes. I mean, if you have the dude on the camera, right, then you have him. We don't need to know what particular shirt you have, what particular shoes you have. We'll see it, but the reason they went into it, because I suspect that when the trial day comes, and if that even comes, because I also suspect that they will make a deal before that, but if trial, we will see the trial day one day, they will show us some guy, a guy going with Tyler's clothes up on the roof, shooting the gun, running away. But I suspect that we will not see Tyler's face. And that is why they took their sweet time to explain that they have the shirt and, you know, pants and all that. Just say you have his face. We're good. Just say you have his face and he's guilty.
But here we have a clip of the prosecution. This is a week ago or so, revealed that UVM cameras, University, captured Tyler Robenson going to the sniper's perch, taking the shot at Charlie Kirk, and then running away in a wooded area. Well, I've talked to FBI agents, current and former, not just Carl Seraphin. They would always, Tucker talked to his sources, put something like this out, smoking gun proof.
Exactly.
But they don't. Here's the clip, and I want Elizabeth Lane to respond to it. She was there in the courtroom when this was said. Here it is.
He then leaves the campus. UVU surveillance then captures him return later. He returns on foot right before the Charlie Kirk event. He's wearing a disguise of sorts. He's wearing a baseball cap, different baseball cap, pulled low. He's got sunglasses on, a different shirt, different pants, but the same Converse shoes. That's all seen in the surveillance. He's limping because there's a rifle down his pants. The surveillance captures this individual. Again, I don't want to overstate the evidence because the pictures of his face at this time are not as definitive as they were earlier because of the sunglasses and the hat. But it captures his face, captures his appearance, his height, his build, all consistent with how he looks earlier in the day and how he looks today in court. But he makes his way to the rooftop, makes his way to the sniper's perch on the rooftop, takes the shot, and then runs to the northeast, drops off the building, and runs to the northeast of campus into a wooded area. That's all captured on video.
So I'm a guy that knows the trans cult does this, so I'm like, yeah, I see that. I've been open-minded. But why did Kash Patel, confirmed, we broke it, order and get Trump to agree that Tulsi Gabbard and Joe Kent would not look into foreign connection evidence they had or accomplices domestically? Why would you do that? And I talked to TPUSA high level that talked to Kash Patel. And Kash is like, well, maybe they knew, but we can't prove it. We don't want to have a case that fails. Oh, yeah, right. Now you've just proven the group. So there is a cover-up. What is the cover-up? Do you agree with that statement, Elizabeth Lane? And what have you witnessed in the prosecution?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, yes, I agree. There's a cover-up. There's no doubt that there's a cover-up. But the reason you saw this particular prosecutor go and tell you how there's going to be a cap and glasses and shoes again, he needs this because he doesn't have a face. So it could be anybody. It could be Lance Twiggs, for example, who had the access to Tyler's cap, shoes, pants, similar build, all of that. So the reason he needs to state all this stuff for the people to hear is because he doesn't have a clear face on that camera. So it could be anybody. I'm sorry, but I don't buy this bullshit unless they can present Tyler Robinson's face, like clear face or blurry, but face, that he's going up there on that roof to shoot Charlie, then I'm sorry, but anything they can present could be anybody. And it's just not, it doesn't make sense. Another point that I've mentioned is very simple. If you had this video all along where you claim that it's specifically Tyler Robenson, not some other dude doing this, then why risk millions of dollars that TPUSA and all these fans that TPUSA is losing? And Erica Kirk's image that is tarnished by not putting that out. Just put it out and it's over. Put out Tyler Robinson actually shooting Charlie Kirk. And all of this mess of TPUSA Candace Owens fight is over. As simple as that. And we haven't seen that video. We've seen usual stuff. Like some guy in Tyler Robinson's shirt.
Well, I mean, since when is there a bank robbery or anything that the FBI doesn't show the video?
Exactly.
I mean, while they're why would they not almost 8 months later release that?
Also, Alex, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember there was a neighbor interviewed of Tyler Robinson's family, and the neighbor said, looking at all these videos that we already have with the glasses and hat and all that, she said, I couldn't recognize it. Like it doesn't look like Tyler, So this is a neighbor who watched this kid grow up, and she could not identify Tyler in that disguise or whatever you want to, like fashion, I guess, whatever you want to call it. So it's weird. To me, it's very weird. And now they are not releasing this particular video that they say that they have of him actually taking the shot. Okay, well, I mean, okay, bro, we believe you. That's all I can say.
Coming up in just the next month or so, it looks like this is finally it.
Think that really boggles the mind, because if you have video, why not release it? If you have definitive video of this guy climbing up on the roof, limping across campus with a gun down his pants, climbing up on the roof, taking the shot, and all of this, why not show it? That makes no fucking sense. I mean, that much is obvious. But the fact that the media came out and said all of his family said it was him, and now it's coming out that 7 family members are on record, on tape, saying that they don't believe it was him. They believe Tyler was set up. At which point, not only who is the actual shooter, but how did Tyler get mixed into this? How did Tyler Robinson find himself in the middle of this thing to such a degree? If he is not the actual shooter, how did he get himself caught up in such a degree to wind up taking the fall? Now we can say, oh, well, he was there, he climbed up on the roof, yada, yada, yada. Okay, great. But nobody's asking how we got from Tyler Robinson living his life to Tyler Robinson now being in court. Nobody's connecting those dots. Now, a lot of people point to the Discord chats and whatnot. I'm sorry, but what kind of fucking furry chats are having these kinds of conversations? Most of those people, like I have a friend who, I should say had a friend years ago who was a part of the furry community, and I kept up with that from time to time. This was long before this Tyler Robinson thing. But, like, she was into that. And stuff like that was like a non-existent conversation. And then you have things like the My Little Pony shooter who went off the rails because his favorite My Little Pony, something happened with his favorite little My Little Pony character, and he just lost his shit. And I think he worked for like UPS or something and went and shot up a UPS facility or something. But nobody else was involved in that. And everybody from that community denounced any association with this person and what they did. But this didn't happen in the furry community. The community itself, I looked, these people were legitimately scared and thinking there was going to be backlash. That was the only talk that I had seen regarding the Tyler Robinson case. But nobody came out as an official spokesman to denounce what Tyler Robinson did or disassociate the community with what Tyler Robinson did. And I reached out to Rod O'Reilly, the widower to the founder of the furry community, for lack of a better term. Pretty much, he's the front man. His spouse, who was the founder of the furry community, passed away sometime prior. But Rod O'Reilly, his successor and spouse, I reached out to him. I wanted to interview him. I wanted to get a feel for what the furry community, at least in terms of its representation, had to say about this. I wanted to see if they would denounce it, but it seems very strange to me that this person never got back to me, never released a public statement on their own, nothing. They didn't say a goddamn thing. And I'll tell you straight up, like, I'll fucking show you. Okay? Email right here. Tyler Robenson. You can see the date right there. I put it out there, man. Like, so I do not understand for the life of me why nobody got back to me on this. And I won't state too many details outside of what I said to this person in the email, but I reached out to that old friend of mine who was very scared about it. I reached out to other people I knew in that community. I'm not a furry myself, but when you know people, you know people. And all of them said the same thing. No such talk ever took place in their communities. And they're waiting for Rod to make an official statement. And a statement that never came. And they were scared shitless that there were going to be reprisals, even though none of them in their social circles had ever talked about anything like this, never advocated for violence or anything to this nature. And we're very, very scared. And again, I got to point it out that it's very strange that Rod O'Reilly didn't come out and say something about this. And I challenge Rod to come on to my podcast, whether TinMan TV or the Roundtable, and discuss this, to denounce what Tyler Robenson allegedly did, to denounce the association of this incident to the furry community, and to address why he never came out with a public statement prior to that point. I mean, come on. You're representing this community, and yet you have nothing to say on it. I've got to call it out. And I got to wonder why. Why did Tyler Robenson, why did you not get back to me? Why do you leave your community hanging? You're pretty much the front man now since your spouse passed away. Why are you not taking point and denouncing any association and any would-be connection between the furry community and the shooting and any such behavior? Come on, explain this to me. It makes no fucking sense. And I'm not attacking the furry community because, whether you agree with anything they do, they're just, for the most part, minding their own little business. Okay, yeah, I can't say that I really vibe with it. I don't think most of them are pedophiles. I don't think most of them are into bestiality. In fact, from what I understand, they're very anti-bestiality and very anti-pedophilia. Most of them just happen to like the art Like Tiny Toon Adventures, Looney Tunes, the original Sonic the Hedgehog, stuff like that. Space Jam, Lola Bunny, Bunny Boobies. Okay, some of them take it to a sexual connotation. Some don't. Some like to run around dressed as such. And little kids happen to see it and think it's a character like at Disneyland or something, and they just kind of roll with it. They're not trying to make anything more of it. Again, I don't think that's normal per se, but they're not taking kids to Epstein's Island and doing all that shit. Okay, I can't say that I vibe with a lot of what these guys do, but I can't deny that for the most part it's anything but innocent. And again, I'm not defending the furry community because I used to have a friend or two in that community. I just got to call balls and strikes. I got to note this for what it is, which is why I say, hey, from what I've seen from the furry community, it's not like that. But on the flip side, why the fuck did Rod O'Reilly not come out with an official statement and defend the community? See, I got to look at both sides of the issue here. And nobody wants to go there. And I think at this point, it's kind of a redundancy because it's pretty well obvious the foreign involvement. Why would the FBI and DOJ not look into foreign involvement in this case, which the law and the structure of their organizations demand that they look at foreign involvement, but they squashed it. Why would they squash it? If it were Iran or Russia or China or anybody in the Middle East or whatever, if there were any possibility of connection to any of those countries or any of those groups, investigations would have gone forward, been like, yep, we got our people. But they squashed it. And the only ones they would really squash it for would be our good buddies in Israel. Again, if it had been any other country on the world, they would have gone headlong after it. But considering there's a lot of speculation that it's the Jewish community, or I should specifically say Mossad, which is for those of you who don't know, is the Israeli equivalent of the CIA, that they had something to do with it. That's why you saw that video, faggot on the roof, got a faggot on the roof, and it was a Jewish guy, a Jewish sniper. Okay? That's what is being propagated. And if there wasn't an Israeli connection, why not conduct that investigation into the possibility of any foreign involvement and definitively absolve Israel and the Mossad of any wrongdoings and allegations? If they are innocent, let the investigation move forward and prove the innocence. Why squash the investigation that would prove innocence? That makes no fucking sense. So, seriously, what the hell? Somebody explain this to me, because this is making no fucking sense. We need some answers, and these are angles that are being touched on to a degree, but not on the degree that they should be. Okay, why is nobody sitting there looking at the multiple angle fronts of this, like saying, why did Rod O'Reilly not make an official statement? Why is the Israeli aspect of this investigation such a taboo if there is innocence? Now, we can assume guilt, but, guilty until proven innocent. But if there is innocence, let's focus on that. If there is innocence, why would the Israeli government not want this moving forward? Why would they not want to be absolved of this? Okay, let's look at that angle. Let's not look at, oh, well, the Jews must be guilty. That's why they're trying to cover up. No, let's go the other direction. If they are innocent, why would they propagate this idea of guilt? Why would they make themselves look guilty by trying to squash this investigation? That begs a good question. And again, it could easily just be diverted back to, oh, well, then they must be guilty. That's why they're squashing it. Okay? Which could possibly be the truth. Okay? But then you look at everything else. But if you go down that rabbit hole, you got to look at everything else. You got to look at the fact that Charlie Kirk was denouncing Israel, did not take the AIPAC money, was very vocal in saying no to any war with Iran, and subsequently pulling away from Israel and having any sort of monetary and military ties to them. He was very vocal about that, and then subsequently winds up dead. And now Erica Kirk takes the fucking mantle and is running headlong first into everything that Charlie, her late husband, was railing against. Okay? So, why not have this investigation at this point? If you're innocent, it would absolve you, especially with the way things are looking, with the way Erica Kirk is handling things, or I should say how AIPAC is having Erica Kirk handle things, and then subsequently Trump with the Iranian conflict, and so on and so forth. I mean, there's another fucking angle for you. How many times have we had a fucking ceasefire now? 2, maybe 3 times now? And Israel's broken the ceasefire and Trump's gotten pissed off at Iran because Israel broke the ceasefire? Why are we not holding Israel responsible? Israel broke the ceasefire every fucking time. Why are we not holding them responsible? Why are we not doing what myself and others have been screaming about and saying, okay, dial back on Israel. Pull our military and financial funding to the point to where they can only defend themselves. Force them into a defensive posture to where all they can do is defend themselves and cannot go on the offense. And then make the fucking peace deal. If you fucking put a leash on the goddamn dog and then make the deal with the Iranians and say, okay, I got the fucking dog on the leash. It's not going to bite you anymore. Come on over. Let's talk. I think the Iranians might be more inclined to go along with the peace deal and keep the peace deal if they know the peace deal is not going to be broken by the dog because it's on a fucking leash. Come on. This is common sense shit. Okay, and I'm not the only one saying it. Okay? Top government officials are saying it. Granted, they're saying it after I said it, but, I digress. If I have a good idea and they take it and run with it, great. Common sense wins out. Common sense wins the fucking day. But then you got Israel turning around saying that they want to bomb the Dome of the Rock at the Temple Mount and blame it on Iran. Like, really? Like, really, motherfuckers? In fact, I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to show this because I'm like, what in the unholy mother of SpaghettiOs is this horse shit? I mean, I was just dumbfounded when I read this last night. There you go. Right here. Okay. Last night I posted it. I fucking called it. How many times have I said this on video? Is Israel on a suicide mission? The head of Israeli intelligence suggests shooting their own missile at the mosque on the Temple Mount to blame on Iran. Let's just go ahead and run that.
The head of Israeli intelligence said a month ago, we should shoot our own missile at the mosque at the Temple Mount and blame it on Iran and blow it up, which is the third most holy site. The Muslims will go completely ape if that happens.
Well, that's it. They just tried to ignite, all-out war. And think of this. No reasonable military expert would say that if all Arabs, all Muslims will definitely unite and declare Israeli like enemies because they destroy Al-Aqsa mosque, how long Israel can withstand that?
And by the way, we know in the war games, they'll just drive across in Jeeps and Humvees and trucks and all of it. And there's not enough munitions that the U.S. or Israel has to stop millions of Muslims just driving across in their vehicles with handguns and rifles. It's over for Israel then.
That's it. That's like, I don't know, whether they're deciding, it's a equivalent of committing suicide by cop. Maybe, these elites deciding to commit suicide of entire country. Let's create a war and let's, as a result of this war, we killed, ourselves. Well, it's difficult to say. It's definitely something on fanatical level where it's more now, going to this religious zealots who deciding that their chance. We know there is a, calls for this Messiah to appear very soon, that they are, soldiers openly wearing a great Israel, insignia, telling, oh, this is time from, one river to Euphrates River, and so on. So basically,
and you got the red heifer, and you got the third temple, and Trump's going to read about the third temple tomorrow. No, tonight. Did you hear he's going to read about the building of the temple tonight on TV?
Yeah, correct. And look, it's not only this; they're looking for pretext how to destroy the Al-Aqsa mosque. They talking openly, about the completely demolished.
The head of Israeli intelligence said a month ago, we should shoot our own missile at the mosque at the Temple Mount and blame it on Iran and blow it up, which is the third most holy site. The Muslims will go completely ape if that happens.
Well, that's it. They just trying to ignite, all-out war. And think of this. No reasonable military expert would say that if all Arabs, all Muslims will definitely unite and declare Israeli like enemies because they destroy Al-Aqsa mosque, how long Israel can withstand that?
And by the way, we know in the war games, they'll just drive across in Jeeps and Humvees and trucks and all of it. And there's not enough munitions that the U.S. or Israel has to stop millions of Muslims just driving across in their vehicles with handguns and rifles. It's over for Israel then.
That's it. That's like, I don't know, whether they're deciding, it's a equivalent of committing suicide by cop. Maybe, these elites deciding to commit suicide of entire country. Let's create the war and let's, as a result of this war, we killed, ourselves. Who knows? Because we see recently they're committing economical suicide very easily. Now, why not, Bibi deciding, let me commit, a entire, country suicide this way, by calling aggression or by attacking Iran. Who knows? But that's definitely, as you said, not only the Trump issue with the dementia, but I think there is something also there. The specialist, psychologist or psychiatrist has to look and think what is and why, Israeli leadership behaving like that. Because no any reasonable leader of its own country will act in this situation on such disregard just to the obvious facts as okay, can you really withstand this? Can you afford to have this damage? Can you see any future? Because look, if you are starting the war without thinking how you want to end this war, if you're starting the war without your clear political objectives, so you are in situation right now. Look, it's very now confusing even to listen. What was the objective for Trump to start the war? That Iran cannot have a nuclear weapons anymore, or that international threat, international.
He said again on Fox today, the war is won.
Well, that's it. How many times he already declared that the bloody war is won? But why he not backing off? That's the problem. And the problem is a question for me, like for anybody, at least, I know, look, America was bragging for so long that they have this check and balances in the government, that president cannot take any stupid decision without Congress, put, brakes on him. But apparently there is a Congress, there is all the other chambers, but nothing happened. Nobody trying even to press on these brakes, or eventually brakes not working. So what we gonna do if, tomorrow Trump's give this order, go and nuke the Iran? So, then it's very difficult to predict what's gonna happen next. And this is now becoming a mess, because it's not only Trump shut down the oil supply, he cut off critical other material. There is a shortage of aluminum, shortage of fertilizer, shortage of the gallium gas for the microchips, which cause shortage of the precursors and the raw material for petrochemicals, which means all that sophisticated plastic, cardboard stuff, all will be very soon in the short supply. Population of many countries will face hunger because there is not enough fertilizer. So every person on this planet will say the name of the Trump and curse him for maybe several generations, and we are lucky to survive. That's the issue.
Well, that's right. And it all started changing 9 months ago. And just looking at Israel's psychology, 34,000 homes, that's an international assessment, blown up in the last month by Israel. They blew up the only bridges from southern to northern Lebanon. They're blowing up ancient churches. The Israelis then go in and tear down the crucifix, Jesus, everything, and broadcast it, and then say, oh, we're sorry. They're clearly trying to cause a provocation, which is like suicide by war. Because you're a military analyst, I'm a layperson, I study it. There's no good way here. It's like, let's be evil, let's be crazy. And Israel didn't used to be this bad. They are totally, and I see on Israeli TV, we're going to nuke everybody. We're God, the third temple, leaders. We're unstoppable. We rule the earth. It's like a demon has possessed Israel's leadership.
Correct. They only bringing to the world destruction, bombing, and the Trump deciding, he also drank this Kool-Aid of suicide cult and going exactly with the same. Let's gonna bomb in Iran, the hospitals. Let's bomb their power station. Let's bomb all their bridges. Let's bomb, everything else.
All their universities. While people, during the day, they blow them up when they're full of people.
Well, they don't care. And that's where the problem is. What we do if the person who can press this famous big red button are completely unfit and crazy. What the mechanism now the United States have to stop it? Whether the somebody at the top military leadership of United States have enough guts and courage come and to say, hey, it's illegal order. We yet to see that, but the problem is,
I'm told the chairman told him that over the weekend.
Yeah, the idea is, look. Either this would be cool right in the White House to prevent the complete destruction of the whatever we understand of the normal peaceful life, because right now, as we speak, the consequences of this attack on Iran, of the Israel and United States already will be reverberating at least for the 1.5 years if we stop today and try to repair the damage. So the question is, think of this. If the new stage of this conflict will start tomorrow again, then we are coming into the eventually, if not nuclear winter, but definitely a very deep economical crisis.
I'm very pleased to announce.
Yeah. So you look at this as a two-front deal. The strongest proponent in Trump's ear, Charlie Kirk, gets iced, gets assassinated. His wife takes over, becomes a pro-Israel propagandist, and teams with Donald Trump pushing into this war narrative and selling the Christian community and the evangelicals and the Zionist Christians on this idea that you have to go to war with Iran. And that's part of the Abrahamic covenant in blessing Israel. Now, that's a whole other can of worms in and of itself. But we see a narrative here. Okay? You don't kill somebody like Charlie Kirk without having a narrative and then being a legitimate threat. Same with JFK. JFK was a legitimate threat. 9/11 was for a political narrative that the United States used to circumvent many of the rights of United States citizens, Patriot Act 1 and 2, and so on and so forth. Okay? There is always one, if not both, of the variables at play in things like this. And you see it with Charlie Kirk. He was a threat to the Israeli war and railed against Israel. So eliminating him eliminates the threat and allows for the propagation, again, turning propagandist USA, to push for Israel. The exact opposite of what Charlie Kirk was trying to do. And the videos for that are all over the internet. I mean, you'd be amiss to find any of them. So it's evident that there is an Israeli connection to the Charlie Kirk shooting, whether before, during, or even just after. Okay, it's clear that Israel was there. It's clear that Charlie Kirk wasn't taking the AIPAC money, and that Erica Kirk did take the AIPAC money because she's a fucking gold digger, like most women. All right. She saw dollar signs in her fucking eyes, and she's like, "Yes, sir, I'll do whatever you say." Gluck, gluck, gluck. Yeah, just like Spam Bundy. Yes, I'll block Kennedy in getting the fluoride out of the water. Whatever you want, Mr. Big Pharma. Gluck, gluck, gluck. I mean, that much is obvious. Okay, that much is obvious. You can prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt. Anything else at this point is speculation. So now we got to ask, if Charlie wasn't, not Charlie, if Tyler Robenson wasn't the shooter, who was? Who was the fucking shooter? Okay, we've got all this argument of, well, it couldn't have been Tyler Robenson because of this, that, or the other, and you're focusing on the clothes rather than the person to divert away from the fact that it probably wasn't him in the first place. Okay, then who was it? Who was the shooter? And why do we not have any answers to that? Okay? Why can't you go after that person and have a definitive prosecution? Yeah, Tyler is an accessory to the crime. Charge him as an accessory, get a conviction for easy. That much is evident. But don't divert away from the real shooter just because you want to get a prosecution. This isn't about getting a prosecution. This is about getting justice. Okay? And bringing the actual perpetrators to justice. So explain to me why the DOJ and the FBI are so hell-bent on a conviction rather than justice. And why is nobody asking that question? Okay? Why are we focused on a conviction rather than justice? Okay? I thought we were supposed to be an impartial system. That we want the rule of the law to rule out. That we want true, honest justice to rule out. Why is nobody zeroing in on this problem? Okay? If you got the DOJ and the subsequent agencies focused on a conviction, to hell with whether or not the guy's actually guilty of the crime. You just want the conviction. You want that badge on your fucking sleeve. You want that fucking little check mark on your resume. In case you want to run for a political office down the line or something. Okay, this isn't justice. This is a smorgasbord for prosecutors. Okay? Like, this is a gold star. And this is a gold star like what you got when you were in kindergarten. Okay? It's a badge on their sleeve. It's not of anything of legitimacy. It's a participation. It's the equivalent of a goddamn participation trophy. Okay, so tell me why a conviction is more important than finding the actual killer and bringing them to justice. Okay, and why is it that nobody is focusing on the corruption of the criminal justice system, that to the point that a conviction is more important than truth and justice? Fucking explain that to me, people. Fucking explain that. I mean, I don't know where else I can go with this. Okay, we need to demand that the investigation be moved forward. If Tyler Robenson isn't the actual killer, we want to know who is, and we want that person prosecuted. Yeah, prosecute Tyler Robenson as an accessory? Of course. Along with everybody else who played a part as an accessory to that whole damn thing. Okay, there's quite a long list of people there. Okay? Prosecute them for an accessory, easy conviction, bada bing, bada boom. But bring forward who actually fucking did it, do an actual fucking investigation, find out who really fucking did it, and bring that person to the forefront and bring them to justice. That's what the American people want. They don't want a conviction of somebody who didn't commit the crime. They want the killer who killed Charlie Kirk. And if Tyler Robenson is not that person, then we want who is. Okay? And these people, they can't hide the fallacies in this. They can't hide the discrepancies in this case that are coming forward. Okay, you put so much light on this, any contradiction that could discredit the investigation and the legal proceedings is going to undermine the whole goddamn thing. If you're worried about your case being undermined, the fact that you're pulling some shady fucking shit instead of doing real fucking investigations and prosecutions is what's going to fucking kill it. Okay? It's not moving forward with prosecutions and investigations that's going to kill it. It's your behavior and trying to cover shit up and divert away from the truth that's going to fucking wind up killing these investigations and these prosecutions. And then we're not going to see justice in any regard. And then people are going to get fucking pissed. Okay? I seriously don't even know where else I can go with this at this point. I'm just going to go ahead and put the turkey in the oven and just see where things go. We saw this morning and last night that the DOJ is moving forward with several prosecutions. I do want to touch on that a little bit here. Scroll down. Where is the article? It says the SPLC is a terrorist organization controlled by the Democratic Party. The 11-count indictment by Trump's DOJ strikes directly at the heart of the deep state. Again, an InfoWars Alex Jones article. He did break this last night. I do want to cover that in its entirety. Just in closing here. So let me go ahead and pull up that feed here for you now. I got it here. So let's go ahead and run that in closing.
I've said this thousands of times. I want to be a cheerleader for Kash Patel. I want to be a cheerleader for Todd Blanche. I want to believe in Trump. I want to see the deep state indicted. And I've been on there 32 years, and my wheelhouse has been the Southern Poverty Law Center and ADL, running the KKK, the Aryan Nations, all of them. It's come out. They got caught in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s doing it. It is well documented. Randy Weaver wouldn't work for him, and so they killed his wife and everything. Todd Blanche and Kash Patel, 11 indictments today. So I'm going to call balls and strikes. People say, wait, you're mad at them. You say they're bad. Well, yeah, because I've seen a bunch of past bad behavior. I call balls and strikes. I just saw this news, went and read all the articles of the indictment. I had a freaking political orgasm. Yes, more, please. Because the needle's been going towards bad with Trump. This kind of moved it back some. Please, more. You talk about going after deep state. The Southern Poverty Law Center has like $1 billion in the Bahamas. They're run by like NATO intelligence. And you saw Charlottesville and all that crap they ran. That was them. I mean, this is amazing. This is amazing. Let me tell you something. I mean, you want to strike at the heart of the globalist deep state and the left controlling the different radical groups on the left and right. I mean, this is it. I am beside myself with excitement right now, and I just want to see more of this. God, can I just see some more good news? Can I see the Clintons indicted? Can I see the Crossfire Hurricane people indicted? Can I just see that? Please, please. I mean, I want to believe. I want Trump to succeed. I wanted the Iran war to succeed. I said, when it started March 1st, I said, I don't think it's going to work, but God, if it did, great. Not for the mullahs. So right when I'm done, something like this happens. My face not restored, but it kind of moved the needle back a little bit. So, wow. Because, I mean, it's like cut and dry. The Southern Poverty Law Center, the lawyers, everybody involved, the witnesses, everybody in the Oklahoma City bombing, the survivors, the cops, the FBI, all of them, the former head of the FBI crime lab, I've interviewed them all. I cut my teeth on this. I was been on there about a year when Oklahoma City happened. The Democratic Party, Eric Holder, all of them, they bombed that building. And the Southern Poverty Law Center ran Elohim City, the white supremacist compound, and did the whole deal and set up McVeigh, who was a patsy because he refused to bomb a daycare center, so they set him up. I mean, that was Southern Poverty Law Center. They infiltrated our offices a few years ago, their operatives. Jacked into our security cameras, everything. Didn't catch us anything. There was nothing going on, but they still put it out. I mean, you want to strike at the deep state leftist New World Order, this is it. So I am just beside myself with how huge this is. The Sun Private Law Center ran the Oklahoma City bombing, folks. It's the heart of the globalist, heart of the Democratic Party. This is amazing. More. Please let the nightmare in. Please let Trump get back on track. Please. I am impressed. My faith not restored, but I'm starting to pay attention. What do you think? Comments below.
Now, I can't say that I wholeheartedly agree or disagree with Jones and his sentiments here. I mean, it is a good sign to see indictments moving forward, but we've seen this before. We've seen indictments, but then everything fizzles out. We've seen cases that were cut and dry that get squashed, investigations that get squashed. Okay, I want to believe that this is the administration getting back on track, but I can't rule out that this might just be another a bait and switch, more gaslighting, perhaps. No, gaslighting wouldn't be the appropriate term. Some narcissistic hot and cold. But inevitably fizzles out to go nowhere. I mean, Trump's approval rating dropped to 32 points. Okay. He has a 32 approval rating. That's a record low. Okay. The only person who is arguably as unpopular on the global stage at this point would be BB Shitting Yoo-Hoo. Okay. So Trump has to do something to save face. He can't just whine and scream and throw a temper tantrum, even though that's pretty much all he's been doing as of late, you know, not just against Jones, but, you know, getting himself kicked out of the war room because the generals won't give him the fucking the military launch code prep shit, whatever they call it, the menu, the nuclear menu. They wouldn't give it to him. And they used their executive powers to say no. And they kicked him out of the war room, and he was kicking and screaming and threw a fucking temper tantrum about that. That was recent. So Trump understands, I think, at this point that he's got to save face, that everything, the horse he bet on was a lame horse. Okay, this whole banking on Turning Point USA being the poster child for the Iranian war in light of Charlie Kirk's death, and trying to capitalize on that and get Christians rallied behind the Iranian conflict in favor of Israel, really didn't work out the way he thought it would. Most Christians, except for the Zionist Christians, are very vocal in their opposition to what Trump's been doing with the Iranian war. The populist movement that voted for Trump are very upset with him with how he's handling the Iranian war, the lack of prosecutions, everything Spam Bundy did, the killing of the investigations, the botched indictments, the fluoride remaining in the water, the issue with Roundup, and them getting another free pass after court rulings. You know, there was a lot of shit in the punch bowl. And I think Trump's starting to realize that shitting in the punch bowl was not a good idea and was just going to piss everybody at the party off. So now he's got to bring out a new punch bowl. Now, will he shit in this punch bowl? I don't know. But I'm willing to wager that everything lines up for the midterms. Because, again, his approval rating is 32%, which negatively impacts the views on the Republican side, especially considering Republicans don't seem to be standing up to Trump and are pretty much Trump's bitch. So instead of actually being checks and balances, they're just being Trump's bitch. And that's pissing off the American people too. At which point, the Democrats are bound, at least at this point, and poised to win the midterms. And I wouldn't be surprised if during the regular presidential elections, we wind up seeing a result like this, and you start seeing broadcasts like this.
We interrupt this broadcast for a very important speech from the Madam President of the United States.
Hello, U.S. America! Where the hell is my martini bucket? I gotta take a crap.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that we'll probably see a huge shift for the Democratic ticket and them quite possibly winning it, to the point that Hillary Clinton herself could run again and probably win. At this point, I have no doubt about that even Hillary Clinton could run. AOC could probably run. Any of them could fucking run. Fucking Gavin Newsom could probably run and win at this point. Trump is so unpopular. Because every time we turn around, he's doing something stupid, and his base and the populist movement have to just scream at him and go,
Why must you fail me so often?
like, seriously, is there really anything else you can add to that? I mean, this is the meat and potatoes. So Trump has to save face at this point. He has to get some real high-level prosecutions going. And they can't just be drawn out shit that inevitably fizzle out. But I fear that's what's going to happen. I fear that he's trying to secure the midterms, and then afterwards, everything's just going to go back to business as usual. That's my biggest fear. At which point, this needs to be acknowledged and needs to be the feet held to the fire here. This issue needs to be at the forefront. It's not an issue I've seen anybody talk about yet. We've seen how this all goes. We try to get in between the couch cushions on this or that because of everything. But here we are. This is what it's led to, and this is where we are. And this is the issue that fell between the couch cushions that needs to be addressed. Yeah, it's great that we're getting those indictments. But why are we getting those indictments? And if it's for the reasons I'm thinking, we really, really need to put boots to asses and hold feet to the fire here in the terms of accountability here. We need to hold these people accountable to the utmost extent. We need to acknowledge this reality. We need to bring this to the forefront, and we need to hold these people's feet to the fire. Okay, we can't just have this be a secure the midterms and then, okay, I don't want it to be, oh, everything's going great, we're getting all these indictments, and then the midterms are secured for the Republican Party, and then it's like, yeah, these indictments failed for whatever reason, and it's... Yeah, I'm not going to be happy about that if that happens. But that's my thoughts on this. It's been a fairly quiet morning, but we've had quite a bit of viewership nonetheless. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my turkey in the oven. So, on that note, we've had an interesting episode of TinMan TV. Again, it's been fairly quiet despite a fairly decent amount of viewership. keep the conversation going. If you have any thoughts or opinions or anything you'd like to add, any additional angles that maybe I didn't even think of, share them in the comments. And share the live feeds. And also, share the YouTube feeds, share the Rumble feeds, share the feeds on Facebook and on Twitter or X, and follow us on those varying social medias: X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, all at REALTWWRN. Check out our online store. Tons of great merchandise there. And as always, this is the TinMan with the Worldwide Resistance Network. If you are watching this, you are the resistance. And until Saturday, stay strong, stay safe, and God bless you all. In the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, may God be with you in all that you do. Never give up. Never stop fighting. Until Saturday, take care. Peace.
You can hear this. You are not alone. This is the resistance.